This camera is so rare that I thought it best to make it an eBay buy it now auction. This will give people more time to find the camera. Regularly, auctions are only good for 10 days. But that's not going to do justice to this camera or the potential Pathé news collectors that will be interested. In the 1920s, Pathé News was present and filmed almost all major news events, including the Hindenburg disaster. Pathé was a preeminent news source for the world. What a treat to have this camera up for sale. It's incredibly rare to have a working 3-lens turret camera. I've seen many hand crank cameras, but a Pathé news camera is quite rare. Universal cameras are especially easy to thread and shoot with. Reloading can be done in under 30 seconds. The camera's been scratch tested, and the film shows no scratches on either the emulsion or the base sides. The sprocket holes show no signs of picking or damage from the pull-down claws. A special feature on this camera is a dissolving shutter. While shooting, you swing this lever and within 5 feet, the shutter will automatically close and your image will fade to black. You also can start with it closed and fade up. And this makes it possible to do overlapping dissolves in camera. Yeah, you can do this in post, but the look is unique when done while hand cranking a camera. Universals were very popular as field cameras and thus showed their use and abuse quickly. This camera was well loved and cared for by its owner. It has exceptionally clean movement. Now, right under 100 years later, I imagine this is the highest quality Universal camera left in private hands. The tripod was made by Burke and James, and they bought Universal Camera Company in 1925. So it's quite rare to have this tripod and camera be together. I've only seen this once before, about 25 years ago. It's even more rare that the camera has a 3-lens turret. This makes lens changing simply a rotation of the turret. It's unusual that the side finder is still with the camera. The black color is factory original and a great even quality overall. Unusual for any Universal cameras, as they were most often highly used and abused. The engine turning is really high quality and marvelously has little damage. The matched set of lenses are all Carl Zeiss Jena Tessars, a 50mm 3.5, a 75mm 3.5, a 105mm 4.5, and the serial numbers from the set of the lenses date them from the early 1920s. I've seen a lot of early hand crank cameras, and I believe these lenses to be ones that originally came with the camera. Most often lenses were swapped out over time. That makes this camera fairly unique. And it's a Pathé newsreel camera. This is a working 35mm motion picture studio camera and will shoot today. It will use today's film, as the sprocket holes were standardized a few years before this camera was manufactured, and the same standards in sprocket holes have been in continuous use ever since. There was a gear missing from the gear train on the camera left side, and I faithfully had that gear duplicated by a precision machinist/craftsman. A custom cut, one-of-a-kind gear costs a small fortune, but I thought the wonderful condition of the rest of the camera warranted it. And the camera was in need of being rescued. Now, instead of being a prop, it's back to being a shooter. I thought I'd love to see this camera go back to work 100 years after it went to work in the first place. Now it can.